Good afternoon, Coolest Coast. It's time for Coffee on the Coast. Good afternoon, Coolest Coast. Welcome to this episode of Coffee on the Coast. We are here. It is the end of the month, so we are doing book banter. Delighted to welcome back to the show Laura Schreiner from Manitowoc Public Library. Hi, Laura.
Hello, Tina. How are you?
I am so excited. It turns out I love talking about books, and I'm so happy to see you here.
I wait for this every month. It's a really fun moment for me. Thank you.
I realize too that the more we talk about books, the more I realize there are a lot of people reading books, and it's
There are.
enjoyable to talk about and share what you're reading.
There
And
are.
that's how you discover more books,
It
right?
is. This is what I think changed during the pandemic when people went from being it was more of a solitary activity and you were looked at as maybe you're like an introvert, you just don't want to talk to people. I think during the pandemic and since we've seen people want to talk about books, maybe want to form groups, at least want to talk online. They want to hash things out again. I think it's great. And I think it's super healthy because it helps people connect.
I think so too. And
Yeah.
I love just that question. Hey, are you currently reading anything? Right?
Oh,
Like it
yeah.
just opens so many doors. Or
It
do you have anything you
does.
recommend? It's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great icebreaker, I think, for just about anybody.
And I love the recommendations that you bring to us each month. I think it was last month you recommended Wild Dark Shore. I just
Yes.
finished that. An
Yeah.
excellent read, a great recommendation. Thank you for that.
Very good. Yeah, it was a little different for me. I just grabbed it because I was looking for a playaway device that I was desperate for something to listen to. I grabbed it. I thought, well, I've heard good things about it. It's not really my speed. Turns out it was my speed. I loved it. I hated that it ended.
I know. I felt like it really wound up really quickly at the end. I was like, "You
Well, it
could have
can't be
kept
over.
going."
I know, right? Yeah, same, same. I
Oh,
felt the same. I was really in love with some of those characters, and I wanted it to go on. Yeah.
me too. And I was surprised. Just when you
Yes.
thought like you had something figured out, it was like, "Oh," and it
Oh,
was a little
that's
twist, and so
exactly. We've got some twists in some of these today too, so I can promise you that. Yeah.
okay, well, let's start with, the gown. I think that this probably doesn't have the twist that you're talking about, but maybe it does.
Right. Well, this is a World War II history that isn't as angsty as a lot of those are, where they're talking concentration camp and battles and things like that. This one is centered on the ladies who worked on then Princess Elizabeth's wedding gown, which was after the war. She got married in 1947. So this gown was being worked on. It was kind of a bright point for the nation. Winston Churchill had this great big statement: "Millions will welcome this joyous event as a flash of color on the long road we have to travel." The whole of Great Britain was excited about this wedding. Elizabeth had to save the coupons, to even make her dress. She did what everybody else did. If you had to save to get silk and to get thread or whatever, she saved the ration coupons just like everyone else. Had this ornate embroidered dress, which is at the time, and probably until Princess Diana's wedding dress, was the most talked about dress of that century, of the 20th century.
Oh,
It was
wow.
a fabulous dress. Yeah. And so the story is about the two of the women who worked on embroidering the dress and become friends and so on. But it came out in 2018. It's by no means new, but I thought let's go back to that book because it has stuck with me. Um, I didn't read it in 2018, but it stays with you just because I loved Queen Elizabeth. I mean, people can say what they want about the royalty, and I get that. There's some dark chapters there, but she was such a dutiful woman. She just classy and dutiful and didn't really make a whole lot of public missteps. She made a few, but she was kind of easy to root for. And then you look at this young princess getting married. Great Britain's won the war, right? But there were serious deprivations. I mean, they were still struggling with lack of this and lack of that and all kinds of things. But they suffered a lot worse than we did in this country with, food and commodities and so many things. And, she saved up for the coupons to get this wedding dress. And, I think that was kind of fabulous. And the story of how these young ladies were chosen to be the embroiderers, which was a big, big thing.
Oh, I
Um,
bet, yeah.
and they worked at, they're fictional characters, but the fashion house was run by someone named Norman Hartnell, who is real. He designed a lot of her gowns. So these two young ladies form a friendship, and they're working on this gown. That's 1947. In 2016, the granddaughter of one of them in Toronto comes across a sample of these embroidered flowers on fabric, does not know what they are. She's doing some internet searching, and finally she realizes those look like the embroidered flowers. She knows the era roughly, but the grandma never told her what she had been up to or how these related to anything. So here's these flowers she really cherished, gives them to her granddaughter, who doesn't know why, finds the gown, and it's like, those look like the flowers from the gown. And then she goes and discovers all kinds of things about her grandma's past and the story of the gown. And I don't know, it's a nice, I feel like it's a nice story. And the World War II stories, as I said, so much angst, so much heartache. This is debatably quite a happy story about how people coped, and just the fact that these heroic women just went on, and yeah, we won this war, but we lost a lot. But this was a seminal event in the country's recovery. I think that's safe to say. This wedding was a big deal, really a big deal in 1947, probably comparable to Diana and Charles in 81, but it was a different world. It was huge. And this dress was the center point. Do you know she dropped and broke her tiara the day of the wedding? And if you look at photos at some point, the central diamond is not where it should be. They glued it together really quickly. If you ever see a photo of her wedding, it was worn later. The tiara was worn later, having been repaired, but they just did a quick repair job. And it's off center. It looks kind of bizarre, honestly. But that's one of the cool things about history. That part really happened.
Interesting. I love that she was like a role model
She really was.
for the citizens of her
Yeah.
nation, right? Like
Yeah.
living the same way as far as collecting the coupons in order
Yep.
for it to happen. And right, I
Yep.
can imagine it was a huge bright spot to uplift the country after
Right.
such
Right.
dark days.
Right. I mean, when you're talking the darkest of dark days and you have something so positive to look forward to, and yet she takes the lead. Okay, she could have done it. However, the sky would have been the limit. She could have had whatever she wanted, but that's not how she led. That's not how she was raised. I guess you have to give her props for that.
Yeah. So the women that did the embroidery,
Yes.
I imagine like if I did that and then I had grandkids, that would
Mhm.
be kind of a bragging point that I would.
Wouldn't you think? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So was there a reason? Did something.
She buried a lot of things. She didn't want to talk about her life in Great Britain. There had been some death and some loss and a lot of things she was traumatized by. So she had brought these sample flowers, but that's really all the granddaughter knew, that these sample flowers were important to grandma. And as I said, grandma didn't
Wow.
talk about it. Mm-mm.
Wow. So true historical aspects as far as the gown
Absolutely.
itself
Absolutely. Yeah.
regarding the queen.
Yeah.
But
And it
then
kind of inspired me to go look at more photos of the gown. The gown is pictured, the train and everything on the cover of the book. And it's really kind of fabulous. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's lovely. I'd never heard anything about it. Okay, great
Sure.
recommendation.
Good.
Okay, so tell us then about Kill for
Oh,
Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh.
oh, this is fabulous. I became aware of it because a book group donated copies. So we own this as a book discussion kit. If any group is looking for a great mystery, fantastic. This came out in 2024. It was an Amazon editor's best pick of the year 2024. Um, it's incredible. It's reminiscent of the Hitchcock film Strangers on a Train, in that we have two people who meet up in a grief group, and they both have shared, well, let me I don't want to give too much away. They are telling one another that they both sustained horrific losses in their family and they want to avenge their departed people. And they come up with this pact: I'll kill for you if you kill for me. Because I can't kill the person who killed my person. Because
Right.
I need a watertight alibi. You can do it and nobody will realize. So that is put in motion, and that's in New York City. Also in New York City, well, oh boy, I have to talk around plot points here. Also in New York City, a lady is attacked in her home by a man with piercing blue eyes. He calls her sweetheart in a very particular way. He stabs her. She's very badly injured, but she doesn't die because he apparently leaves the scene when he hears sirens. He has killed everyone else with this MO, but she survives. She's very traumatized. Her husband is determined to avenge her. Well, she kind of misidentifies the person she thought killed her. So her husband kills someone who isn't the right person.
Mm.
He's pretty traumatized. They go from there. There's a whole lot of trauma here, but I can tell you the twists and the plot points. And just when you think you know what is happening here, and okay, I've got this nailed down, and I know who's who, and I know how this is going to play out. No, it spins on you. I listened to it and I hated to stop listening. And then I finished it in kind of a marathon session yesterday when I was traveling. And I was like, I had no one to talk about with, because I'm in the car by myself. I'm like, but some of my friends here have read it, and a lot of us have loved this book. So we can talk to each other, but I really have to talk around plot points here and not give too much away, because it's really surprising some of the way things go here. It does tie up, but not in the way you thought it was going to. Not at all. It's
Interesting.
very good. Very, very good.
I just want to share this blurb that Libby has
Yeah.
about it. It says, two ordinary women make a deadly pact to take revenge for each other after being pushed to the brink in this unguessable and unputdownable psychological thriller, perfect for fans of Gillian Flynn and Alfred Hitchcock.
Right, right. So Gone Girl and the classic Hitchcock things. And I would say that's an apt description. They don't emphasize as much in some of the reviews that third lady, but the third lady is with the attack in her home is really a central part of the story too. Yeah. I mean, it's at first I'm like, how are these tying together? Again, you don't know how these are tying together. Oh, they brought her up and then they kind of don't talk about her. I'm like, well, what happened to her? But then they tell it from her point of view and they go back and forth, and listening to it's a great experience. I don't know what it'd be like reading. I'm sure it's every bit as good. It's very, very good. It's a great mystery.
Interesting. Yeah, you seem very excited about it, which I think is a good
And
sign.
Sometimes they just don't live up to the billing. This one really did. For me, it really, really did. I thought this is really clever, really clever. You really have to stop and think. Like I really did. I was going over it in my mind. Okay, that resolved that way, and this one kind of resolved that way, but I wouldn't say it's satisfying because not everybody got what you think they deserved, and some people got something they didn't deserve. And I guess life is messy like that. But you understand where all of these people. Yeah, I guess I was going to say you understand where everybody's coming from. There's one person I'm not quite sure where they were coming from at the end, but you mostly understand the desire for vengeance and this kind of pain and what can I do to resolve this, and I can't live with this. And he does a great job. He's from Northern Ireland. He's an Irish author, and he's written some series. This one's a standalone. I would definitely read more Steve Kavanaugh. It's very good.
Okay.
Very, very good. Yeah.
And so as a psychological thriller,
Yes.
how is it as you're going through it? Is it, scary, nail biting? Is it enjoyable and you're propelled along?
Oh boy, it propels. I wouldn't call it scary. I wouldn't call it the kind of thing that I'd be afraid to be at home at night reading. It's not that kind of thing.
Okay.
But the psychological part, oh my gosh, he nails it. He's really, really good. And he's not on everybody's radar at all. Steve Kavanaugh is not well known. I think he should be. I really think he should be. And this one might help. It was a very, very good mystery. Yeah.
Yeah, I have not heard of him before,
No.
but it sounds like he's worth putting on the to-read list.
I think it was, I'm telling you, it was like whiplash. It was, I couldn't believe it. The way it ended, I was like, this is not what I thought was going to happen. It was relatively okay as far as justice, if you will, but there were some people who got away with some things that you wish they hadn't.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, what about, I'm excited to see this one because I read this book.
Did you? Okay.
Here, One Moment by Leanne Moriarty.
Okay, so this one, and some of our mutual friends have read this book too and talked to me about it. And it was an NPR Best Book of the Year in 24. It was a #1 bestseller. Of course, Moriarty writes a lot of bestsellers. That's not unheard of. What did you think of it? So the premise is this lady is on a plane. This flight is delayed between two cities in Australia, and the flight's kind of getting to be a lengthy delay. This woman stands up and starts going up to people who've not asked. They're not asking. She's just unsolicited, going up to them and saying, I expect you'll die at 102 of old age. I expect they will die at 7 of drowning. It's really upsetting to some of these people. A few people are like, oh, good, I'm going to live to be 102. And some of them are not very happy. You're going to die yet this year. No one's asked her. She's very detached, I think, as she's talking to them. She's just kind of like reciting these weird facts, and people want her to stop,
And I think she's kind of pointing at them too. And it's kind of got this ominous sort of pathetic.
Yeah. She tells the flight attendant she's going to die before the year is out. I mean, she's telling the mother, her 7-year-old, that her son, who's a baby now, is going to die at 7. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I couldn't look away, though. It's kind of one of those, I just couldn't look away.
Well, it's interesting because you want to write it off, right? You want to just be like, oh, crazy lady on a plane.
Yeah.
But then one of the predictions seemingly sort of unfolds as predicted. And the people from the flight start to track each other down. Like, oh my gosh, what did she tell you? Because this happened.
Right. And, the internet plays into that too. But yeah, as you said, a few months later after this flight, first thing comes true, then something else comes true, then some other things look like they're coming true. And people are scared and they're altering the way they live their lives. And sometimes maybe that worked and sometimes maybe it doesn't. But it was good. It was a different concept, and I really, really liked it.
I really did too. I have to say, at the end, I even cried, which
There
I
was
didn't expect.
sometimes it hits you in ways that you don't really expect. I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I was skeptical because I had read another Leanne Moriarty book
Mhm,
that
mhm.
was pretty good, but
Right.
then, like, the last third of the book,
Yes,
I
yeah,
felt like she kinda dropped the ball, and I just was disappointed, and I thought,
yeah,
"Oh, no." And
yeah,
so as I was reading this too, I kept thinking, "Oh, please don't get to the 'oh, no' moment,"
right,
and it
yeah.
never did. It really delivered.
Yeah, I agree, she did not drop the ball on this one. I've read, Apples Never Fall, and I've read, Husband's Secret and some things. I don't know what you had read, but some of them don't even look all that interesting to me. Some of them that she's written, I thought, "Well, I think I can pass on that one." This one, I loved it. I thought it
I
was
did
great.
too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really did. I've recommended it to a number of people, and I think about this one a lot.
It stays with you, doesn't it? Yeah,
It
yeah.
does. And
I
and
liked it.
and how in some regards things became self-fulfilling.
They
Like,
did.
if people had just ignored her
Right,
and gone on with their lives, it would
right,
have never factored in, but because they
right.
were ruminating on it so much, it almost, like, changed the course of
Sure.
the way their life went.
Well, I mean, how could you unhear that? You know, if someone tells you that and you say you can want to blow it off or whatever, but how can you unhear that? You'd like to say, well, she's a crackpot, whatever, but then you see at least one thing come true and maybe another one seems to come true. And there is a fraud in there, though, too. Isn't there one person that claims such and such, but he wasn't on the plane anyway? So it's a big sensation on the internet. It's a big newsworthy thing. It gets a lot of attention, and they're trying to figure out who she is, and you get into her mind quite a bit, and it's really good. It's a long story. Didn't you think? I thought it was a pretty long story, but it's good. But it moves
You
quick
know,
moves
it's
quickly.
yeah, it seems daunting at first because it is quite a
It
thick
is.
book, but it moves fast.
It
It
does.
really
It
moves
does.
fast.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't know if I would like it at first because I thought, I don't know, this is kind of a frightening, strange concept, but I thought unexpectedly really, really loved it. Yeah.
Did you think it was spicy at all? Were there any spicy
Did you?
parts?
I don't recall really any spice. Do you? I don't really. Well, there was the bridal couple, but they had
Mhm.
some issues that didn't involve really spice. They involved more poor money decisions and things like that, right? And he was a sleepwalker, but yeah, I don't know. Was there anything spicy really in there? I
You
don't
know, I
recall.
think some of their extracurricular activities
Yeah,
may have been a little, spicy,
a
like,
little bit, but
but yeah.
not the center point at all.
No, definitely not.
So it's obviously I don't even barely remember them. They really didn't resonate that much with me. I don't avoid that stuff, but I don't really focus on it either. I guess as a rule, I know someone wants spice. I get that. Someone had said that, and we joke about it. But yeah, I mean that's fine. It's fine. Sure,
It's no
some
50
people have
Shades of Grey, that's for sure.
not even close.
Did you
No,
ever read the book called The Measure?
I am aware of it. I did not read it. No,
Okay, I
I would
thought
like
that The
to read it.
Measure and that this book, Here One
Uh,
Moment,
yeah.
really paired well together. So I happened to read The Measure
Did you?
just before it, and then
Okay.
I read this and I thought, "Oh, that's so interesting."
I think
Um,
I should read The Measure. I really do. Yep.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a book group that just did that, and I thought that sounds interesting. So yes, I think that's a great recommendation. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, I made a recommendation.
You
That's
did. You did. Well, you're not prohibited from recommending things by any means. Yeah.
Well, let's get back to your
Okay,
recommendations.
sure.
Let's talk about Just for the Summer by Abby
Okay.
Jimenez.
This is a little bit of a concession to spicy. Now, I have to say it's not super spicy. It's a rom-com kind of. It's the third in a series. Um, it's a standalone. I haven't read the other two, but I had asked people if I were going to read Abby Jimenez, which one should I read? And they had said this one. This is her latest, I believe. Standalone. But now I'm wondering, I probably should have read the first two because there's some recurring characters, but you don't have to. Um, Here's an interesting fact about the author. She was on the Food Network. She was a cupcake champion. She has started a bakery that has gone on to win numerous Food Network competitions. Her bakery is called Nadia Cakes, which I don't know, but I mean, people who maybe watch those sorts of things. Yeah, she was a Cupcake Wars champion before
Wow.
all of this.
Wow.
There
Do
you go.
cupcakes factor into, or is there any kind of
I don't
baking that
think no, they're living on an island in Lake Minnetonka in Minnesota. So there's some uh, seafood expeditions, and I think there's a lot of food, maybe some food kind of forays in the Twin Cities, but nothing crazy. Just like a diner with comfort food and things like that. Now she hid that pretty well, but I like the Minnesota setting. It's pretty good. I like that too. Yeah.
Well, Libby says that it's a sharp and scintillating summer novel that will make readers laugh out loud and cry happy tears from this best-selling author of yours truly.
Yes.
So, okay, what makes it scintillating? Is that the
Well,
spice?
well, probably. So the premise is that this young man has developed a reputation that he then puts onto Reddit, that as soon as someone breaks up with him, the next person they date finds the love of their life. So he's like the last step before they find their soulmate. So this is a Reddit thread. So this young lady who's a traveling nurse comes across the Reddit thread, and guess what? The same things happen to her. So she reaches out to him. She DMs him. Is that what you say? DMs him, and then so they kind of like on a lark decide, hey, maybe we should get together sometime. But she's a traveling nurse bound for Hawaii. He lives in Minnesota and has family responsibilities. So she's kind of committed to going to Minnesota for 6 months, and he's in the Midwest. It's not going to work out. But then there's something about him fascinates her enough that she kind of breaks the contract, and she and her best friend go to Minnesota, live on an island, learn how to drive a pontoon boat to get to the mainland to their jobs at this hospital, which I thought was funny. The way they talk about learning to drive a pontoon boat, I thought was kind of fun. And there's a spark there. There's a definite spark, even though they claim that they're both just doing this for like scientific reasons, because when we break up, we'll each find our person, and that's not working out so well. It turns out that it's taking on a different dimension, and they're great characters. The nurse, Emma, young nurse, has been really traumatized by a really neglectful parent. Her mom was really not very good to her. She finds empathy for everybody. She's great. She has this great quote that I really kind of loved. I just want to read it, where she says, "Not everything that comes out of crisis is bad. Sometimes your traumas are the reason you know how to help." So she's this very helping nurse, develops this affection for almost everybody. She's always trying to forgive her mom. Her best friend is irritated at the mom, who's really kind of hard to take. But Emma herself makes excuses for mom, doesn't want to see the bad, doesn't want to see the bad in anybody. She's a wonderful character. And so is he. The young man's name is Justin. They're great. They're great young people. And you're just really rooting for them. They're so charming. And I don't know, they find humor in things and affection in things. And he senses it pretty far into the book. He's still sensing that he's more into her than she is into him, because she's still planning to move on to Hawaii after this contract. He wants her to stay. He desperately wants her to stay. He's raising his young siblings because his mother's been imprisoned for some embezzling crimes. So he's now responsible for 3 young kids. He can't go anywhere. I'm just saying. And she didn't want to get close to the family because she doesn't like to get close to people, because she's been burned by a family relationship. So that's understandable. It's pretty charming. It's pretty charming. There's a little heat there, but it's not gratuitous. It's like a legitimate connection. And these 2 young people are really forming a bond. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty good book. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
So are you saying from your description, it
Mhm.
sounds like maybe it goes on for more than just the summer? Yeah. Just for the summer. You
Spoilers.
have to read it
Spoilers. Yeah,
yourself to find out.
yep, this is their understanding. This is just for the summer. This is just for the summer. She's continuing to say that. He's not. In fact, there was going to be a little spicy episode at one point, and she stresses again, are you into this just for casual spice, shall we say? At which point he shuts down, because he's not into it just for casual spice. He's into it for long-term spice. So there you go.
That's the little known 6th Spice Girl.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But, she has to keep herself distant because she can't stand to get hurt. And she just can't allow anybody in to that depth. But I'm going to say maybe she's about to change. Maybe she's ready for a change. And it's a really good book. I don't know what the first 2 are about, but apparently there's recurring characters. The first one is called Part of Your World. The second one is called Yours Truly. And then there's Just for the Summer. So that's the trilogy. She has written other things. She's got a gift. She's a likable author. She really is. Yeah. And
Can you
she makes
imagine having the
cupcakes.
talent to make cupcakes at the level
Yeah.
she makes them and be a great author? Wow.
Apparently she's really good at both. Yeah. So I think I couldn't do either, and she's great at both. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. All right, you've got one more recommendation for us, Culpability. By the way, I love the way this cover is laid out.
The cover's really neat. I like the cover. Yeah. This one I'm ambivalent about after talking to others as well. This was an Oprah's Book Club pick. It's all of these sources are saying it's the book of the summer of 2025. I don't know, Tina. I liked it. I thought it was good. It had a lot of talking points. You're going to have some great discussion coming out about AI and what that means to the future. I don't know. There's some family drama there, but a lot of it's centered on the AI and the fact that there's a car crash caused by AI that failed, although I will use that term loosely. There's a young man at the wheel when their family minivan hits another car. It's being driven by AI, but he's at the wheel.
Oh.
He might not be paying a lot of attention though, because the car is driving itself. His mother is in the back of the car. She is an AI expert, world-renowned AI expert, working on some projects. His dad is driving next to him. It's riding next to him. It's kind of weird. Dad is not the brains of the family. Mom is the brains of the family. Dad feels inadequate. Let's put it that way. Two sisters are in the back. There's this collision. It's horrific. I hope this isn't hard for you to hear.
It's okay. I already read the blurb, so I knew.
Did you? Okay,
yeah.
Really more about the AI. The AI situation. The family dynamics start to come out as they're recovering from all of this. It's like it's not about physical injuries as much as, boy, this family is kind of a mess. They are a train wreck of a family. They end up they go away for a week to a summer home to try to come together again. They end up next to this big AI magnate who has a history with the mom. He's very, very wealthy, and he's got a history with the mom. The husband, who already feels like he's inadequate, now feels inadequate because he doesn't know if his wife's been involved with the very, very wealthy next door neighbor who's got a helicopter and all of this stuff. The gentleman's daughter ends up in a relationship with the young kid who was driving the car. I mean, it's just... there's all kinds of stuff, and it's then the two kids disappear on a boat and in a storm, and it's just, there's a lot going on.
And so is part of it a debate about AI, the use of AI, the safety of AI?
Yeah, and chat bots, and there's at least one of the daughters is really not relating very well to people. She kind of forms a relationship with a chat bot, which you realize as they're interspersed, it's like, oh, this isn't even I'm not spoiling anything. This isn't even a person she's chatting with a chatbot who's trying to teach her morality. It's like, you have to come clean. You have to tell them what you know or what you did or how this happened. And then she shuts it down. She'll turn off the conversation with the chatbot. But the chatbot has a name. So at the very first, I thought maybe it was a person, but of course it's not a person. It's someone trying to tell her, you have to stop this and you have to come clean. Yeah.
So does the mom have second thoughts about the AI? And is the AI in the car AI she was involved with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
She's very much a believer in AI. She's a little bit she's very superior intellectually to everyone around her. I think she's very cold. She can be very detached. Dad is warmer, but Dad also feels like he's completely in her shadow. She's brilliant. Mom's whole family is brilliant. He's this low achiever who barely made it through law school. He's a lawyer, but he's not a great lawyer. I mean, he's just like, he's the one trying to hold everything together and be the parent. And I didn't love her. I didn't love the mom at all. I related a little bit to the dad. I thought he was relatable. I don't know. I wanted to like it better. I thought the AI component, the moral, ethical component of that, to what the future might look like when that's how we relate and that's what we let run everything. I thought it was going to be maybe a better story than what it was. We have other books by this author. His name is Bruce Holzinger. He's not overly popular here. We have a few of his books. They don't circulate especially well. This might put him on the map nationwide, but I don't know. It's got some fascinating thoughts, but I thought maybe it could have executed better. One of my coworkers said the same thing at the end. She's like, wow, they took the easy way out there. They didn't resolve it the way you thought they might. I don't know what I thought they should have done. I don't even understand AI. I mean, I get what it is, but I don't understand how you develop it or any of those sorts of things. But you think there are some real ethical problems with a world where that determines everything.
So it seems like that's a pretty important and contemporary, current topic, right?
Yes.
That warrants delving into and having these deeper discussions.
Yes.
But you're saying the story just didn't.
I mean, I thought the story could have been better, but I think the focus was more on the AI than on the family relationships, which was complicated. I think that you could understand the relationships a little bit, but I wasn't sure what the center thing was. Is this trying to be about AI, or is it trying to be about a family? Is it trying to meld the two? I wasn't sure how well it did that. But based on the AI alone, it might be interesting to some people who really want to kind of think more about the ethics that are involved there and
Was
put
it
it in a
trying to make the case for AI or
yeah,
opposed to
yeah,
AI?
it's got some limitations. You can't put all of your eggs in that basket. You still have people with feelings and people who make choices, and the AI, if you give it too much power, I don't know what the world looks like. And I think that's maybe the unanswered question. Maybe it is an important thing to talk about, and maybe it's more approachable than in a text. It's not a scientific text. It's interspersed with some scientific writings by the mom, which of course are not real, but I don't know. It puts it out there in a way that maybe people can kind of digest what AI means, but I don't know.
Yeah. But it's hard to do that if it's not a great story, right? Like if the book
Yeah,
doesn't pull you in and pull you along,
right. Like
like,
when you and you've talked about a book where you don't really like any of the characters, you don't relate to them. They were a bit one dimensional. The dad was maybe more relatable, but the one child in particular was a stereotype. The young man was a total stereotype. I was like, I don't really like him.
oh
Um,
no.
the police are going to charge him with a crime because he was texting. He was texting while he was supposedly at the wheel, but is he really at the wheel when the car's driving itself? Is that a crime then at that point? So there's all kinds of things. But he wasn't very likable. He wasn't, I guess you'd want him to be maybe a little more humble and a little more sympathetic a character.
Mm.
Yeah, he wasn't really. No,
Hmm. So I
no.
have this on my holds list and now I'm trying to decide if I should take it off.
I mean, I was reading so much about it, hearing all this stuff. This is the book of the summer. This is whatever. We're developing a lengthy holds list on it. And I'm like, it's good. It's got some things going for it, but yeah, there's things I've read that I've just come across that were just like sleepers compared to this that were so much better. And this one just, I
Yeah.
don't know. Sometimes I'm like, who says these are so great? Like, who has decided this is fabulous?
Yeah.
What's promote
How is that determined? Is there a certain criteria? Like what is it?
the biggest promotional budget, the best agent? I don't know. I mean, certainly Oprah gives it a lot of credibility, but I don't always like all the Oprah books by any means. I've read some Oprah books. I thought, what am I missing?
Exactly. Same. I've had
Yeah,
that experience. So
sure.
seeing that mark doesn't give it any extra
Doesn't,
credibility to me
not
because I don't
really.
think that we appreciate the same type of books.
I think not. I mean, there's the Jenna Book Club, and there's a Good Morning America, and there's Reese Witherspoon. And I don't even know all the different book clubs. Sometimes you're going to find a gem. Sometimes it's not your thing at all.
Interesting.
And this one was meh. It was a meh. My big hit out of here was Kill for Me, Kill for You.
So if you were going to give any of these books a pass, you would maybe pass on
I
culpability
think I
by
could. I think I could have said if I hadn't read it, my life would be fine. Yeah, didn't bring a whole lot.
you can add a little spice to your summer, like
Little
just for
Minnesota,
the
little
summer.
little Minnesota spice right there. Yeah, yeah,
Here, one moment. I have read this. I do recommend this one. Very
yeah,
good book.
yeah.
Kill for Me, Kill for You, the big winner of today.
I think it's a big winner. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I love that this one is just so different from the other
It is. Yeah,
recommendations. The
yeah.
gown, a little bit of historical fiction.
I always wanted to call it the robe. For many years, I have in my head it's called the robe, and it's like that's not the right word. It's the gown. And what's your takeaway here? Look at Princess Elizabeth's wedding pictures and look at that off-center diamond on her tiara
You know
because
exactly what I'm going to be doing this
yeah,
afternoon.
you are indeed. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to join me and to recommend these books and just have this awesome conversation about books. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, so did I. We'll look for some good ones for next month too. We're always looking for good ones, aren't we?
I love it. Yep. Viewers, feel free to share in the comments what you're currently reading, if you've got any recommendations, and if you have any thoughts on the
Love
books
it.
that we talked about. All right, we will see you next time on Coffee on the Coast. Take care,
Take
everyone.
care. Bye
My
bye,
guest,
Tina.
Laura Schreiner. I'm Tina Prigge.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye bye.
Laura.